Well, the man that I first met when I came to Florida in 1983, I went to the Florida Folk Festival in White Springs, and one of the first folk records I ever purchased on vinyl, back before CDs, was a Frank Thomas album. And Frank and Ann Thomas singing old cracker stories. I just loved it, and it was one of the first songs I ever learned, aside from Hold Back the Waters by Will McLean. But Frank's CD, I guess I should say vinyl, has inspired a lot of other people to continue to tell the stories of Florida. And he's got some special guests who are going to be coming up tonight and accompanying him. I think I saw Ron and Barry Litschauer backstage, along with Don DeWitt and Stan Geberer. They're going to back Frank up. And I think even Steve Blackwell and the Punta Gorda Army folks are going to be coming up and singing a song with Frank. Frank's got a song also on the These Diamonds CD, the compilation CD, that I think is one of the best songs really ever written. It really describes what's happened to Florida, the Cracker Cowman. How many have heard that? Yeah, that's a great song. Maybe he'll sing it tonight. I hope so. I hope so. So come on up and we'll get you all situated. Ron and Barry have actually been doing a lot of the same thing down in their neck of the woods. They've had a coffee house down there and have been inspiring a lot of other people to keep Florida folk music alive. You've been given one of those assignments, Ron? Oh, yeah, Frank? Several.
Donna, you're not telling how handsome I am and all that stuff.
Oh, that's right. Frank Thomas is the handsomest folk singer in Florida. How am I doing? He's the silver fox of folk music right here. Up there with Okefenokee Joe, though. Yeah. Pretty close. And tonight we all want to send our good wishes to Ann. She has been feeling under the weather and not doing too well, and so say your prayers and keep Ann in your thoughts. But we're not going to let Frank sing alone. We're going to have all these folks come up here and accompany him and bring you some of his good music. Again, the sound people have been amazing because there's so many, going from a solo act to 5, 6, 7 people is quite a job, and to do it well takes a lot of talent. So Mark is here bright and early in the morning and here till like midnight tonight. And we do have a lot of great acts coming up yet. Another person who is from South Florida will be coming up in a little bit, Grant Livingston, who has a lot of humor in what he writes about Florida. I never look at armadillos the same way, do you? Ever since Grant. And Ken and Lee, Ken Skeens and Lee Goldsmith will be coming up from the middle of the state. That's one thing that's nice about where we are. So we have folks coming all the way up from South Florida. We've got people from the Panhandle. We had people drive here from, Idaho or Utah? One of our songwriters this afternoon. Was it Utah? That was a great story that he told a little bit earlier. Those of you who were here at noon got a chance to hear a wonderful story about the influence of Will McLean and Gamble Rogers on a songwriter who now here he is, 28 years later, singing at the Willfest. And he was our second place winner with a song for Gamble. Don't forget about the bucket of CDs. I think there's like 50 CDs in there from what I was told. And as well as that $80 flute that has been donated. So if you haven't joined the Will McLean Foundation, just step over to the booth. They've got a lot of new stuff this year too. Some new t-shirts. The whole thing is Saving Florida Through Music is what it says on the back of that t-shirt. And it's a great t-shirt. And that's really what it's all about. And Dawn's up here without any flowers on her hat. Did you notice that? She's changed her look. I didn't recognize her at first.
Check 1, 2.
All right. Put your hands together for Frank Thomas and his entourage.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Y'all having a good time. There's some good music here, isn't there? Whoa. I won't torment y'all too long here. I want to start with something I rarely ever do. I think it's appropriate to do it here tonight. We'll get things organized here just in a second. I guess we ain't no big rush for time anyway. Just walk slow and drink plenty of cool water. We're all set?
I hope so.
We're all set? All right, here it is. You never could possess the worldly things we associate with fame. The future generations will remember his name. They'll sing his Florida songs and wonder who was this man. Named Will McLean, who wrote about his love of the Florida sand. Will was a restless soul, never in one place for long. Key West to Pensacola, always a singing a Florida song. He'd heard the legends and the Florida lore on his grandpa's knee. And like the honking geese in a frozen sky, he knew he had to see. Where old Blunt's Fort was blown apart by a red-hot cannonball, and a ghostly swan called Tate's Hell. He heard a panther squall. He saw beaches littered with dead fish, the victims of red tide, and a lonely place on the Fort King Road where Major Dade had died. So with his guitar and a fishing pole and a rusty old Model A4, explored the land of Spaniards, rode with a cross and sword. He walked the woods where Gopher Johns flies for peace and faith. He saw a dungeon in St. Augustine, Osceola had been jailed. He followed the pure clear water from beautiful Silver Spring down the Ocklawaha, so mysterious and serene. He saw the big scrub where black bear and panthers still roam free. A wild hog in Gulf Hammer and a biblical gopher wood tree. And legendary Everglades, home of the Seminole, Lake Okeechobee where a hurricane had taken a dreadful toll. The trails of Acrefoot Johnson, the chain gang's hardened men, and the electric chair where a man once vowed never sit down again. Conch Island where the green turtle laid her eggs in the sand. The gentle ocean breezes that cool this flowered land. The stillness of Payne's Prairie, the dancing sandhill crane, and far away a crying bird was calling his name. The Florida he loved was slipping away. He could see more people moving in with each passing day. People who thought wildlife was a nuisance, not a friend, and the cracker a subhuman food that never would fit in. So he began to write the songs, those haunting melodies, woven round the words that told of Florida's history. He gave his heart and soul to the wildlife crying lament, and he warned as the wilderness disappeared, lost to development. As the years went by, the pages filled with songs and poetry, written by a man who lived in poverty. But he was quick to say his songs were not for monetary gain. They were a gift to Florida with love from Will McLean. He inspired generations to write Florida songs, nurtured us with love, chastised when we were wrong, speaking in his gentle voice, so resonant indeed, warning that it would soon be time to go to his final sleep. And the crying birds and honking geese kept calling him, come fly away, oh, wee up through the Florida sky. His soul took wing, he bid farewell to his mortal friends. He said, I'll be somewhere in Florida in the wind. And on the wings of a hawk flies the soul of a man who wrote about his love of the Florida sand. He will always be somewhere in Florida in the wind. And the tall McClemmy pines will be keen in the name. Florida's black hat troubadour, Will McLean. His beard may be stubble like a cut over sugar cane field. His clothes may be dirty, but the look in his eyes lets you know he won't yield. He's from a breed that has died, but he has survived, and the world he once knew is gone. He's an old cracker cowman existing a long way from home. And dirt bikes scream over land that used to be scrub cow trail, and interstate highways taking the place of old Mr. Flagler's rail. And condos rise from the land and space shuttles fly, and the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed him by. Thank you, guys. Old Bone Mizell, he's gone, but the legend lives on. Jake Summerlin and old Sam Keene, beginning and ending of an era now gone. And men like Doc Norman somehow let the bottle get him down. These old Florida cowboys are like eagles tied to the ground. And dirt bikes scream over land that used to be scrub cow trails, and interstate highways have taken the place of old Mr. Flagler's rails. And condos rise from the land and space shuttles fly, and the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed him by. Thank you. As I dream tonight of my home in Florida, I know my family misses me. As this train pokes along through the hills of Virginia, it's those flat woods of home I long to see. I can still smell the smoke of battle, and I know we fought a good fight at a place called Cold Harbor, Virginia, where many good men gave their lives. I guess for me this war is over. A Yankee mini ball send me home. Lord, I miss my wife and family. It seems like years that I've been gone. As I dream tonight of my home in Florida, I know my family misses me. As this rain pokes along through the hills of Virginia, it's those flat woods of home I long to see. My great-granddaddy, William Thomas, was one of the many wounded soldiers on the train headed home. But he didn't make it. He developed lockjaw and died on the train. But he left a legacy that will live on in the hearts and minds of those who remember the Confederate soldier and in the descendants of his children who still live in his beloved Florida home. As I dream tonight of my home in Florida, I know my family, this is me. As this rain pokes along through the hills of Virginia, it's those flat woods of home I long to see. Yes, it's those flat woods of home I long to see. There's a flag that once flew over Dixieland, and it always flew with pride and dignity. My great-granddaddy gave his life fighting for that flag, and it means a lot to my family and to me. It's the standard of the Southland, a tribute to the memory of the brave Confederate soldiers who died. That flag stands for honor, and it belongs to the Southern people, and may we always remember it with pride. But now our flag is being desecrated, fouled by filthy hands and defamed. Our flag has come to symbolize bigotry and hatred, disgrace, dishonor, and shame. The stars and bars never hid behind a hooded mask, and neither did Robert E. Lee. Our Confederate soldiers didn't fight and die for the Nazi party, and that flag's not yours to desecrate, so let our colors be. That flag was at Manassas when Francis Bartow fell, and Jackson's line stood like a wall of stone. It saw the horrors of Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and Cold Harbor, but through it all our flag was proudly flown. At the Battle of Gettysburg, it saw our army in retreat, and when Atlanta burned, it heard the Southland cry. But our flag was shown respect by Grant at Appomattox when Lee had to tell his troops goodbye. And at the victory party, Lincoln had the band play Dixie in honor of those brave men who died, fighting for that flag and the Southland they love, and may we always remember it with pride. The stars and bars never hid behind a hooded mask, and neither did Robert E. Lee. Our Confederate soldiers didn't fight and die for a bunch of skinheads. That flag's not yours to desecrate, so let our colors be. And the stars and the bars never stood behind the burning cross, and neither did Robert E. Lee. And my great-granddaddy didn't shed his blood So find yourself another symbol for your hate and bigotry. You have no claim to our Confederate flag, so let our colors be. Thank y'all. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's, as you know, the folk festival this year is dedicated to Mr. Stetson Kennedy, and at this point in time, I'm going to have Steve Blackwell come up and do a song he wrote about Stets, and then I'm going to do one I wrote about him, and then we're going to have Stetson come up here and say hello and just show you just how ugly he really looks in the face. Steve Blackwell, come on.
That's all right. You got the guitar on this? Is that all right? Okay. We're going to make this work. Thanks.